What's up, everybody? Welcome back or welcome to CCG Astrology. Solar eclipse in Aquarius. Let's talk about it, all right? This is big, okay? A solar eclipse is huge. It's about, when you just look at solar eclipse, solar is about the sun, all right? And in astrology, the sun represents your conscious mind, your conscious thoughts, you, the ego, all right? And it's an eclipse. Eclipse is about things being cut or things being removed or like taking out. All right. So when you basically analyze the solar eclipse, this is the energy where things are being released, but it's basically happening for you, right? Now, this could be a thought pattern. This could be a way that you're viewing yourself. This could be something that needs to be released out of your way. Solar eclipses are really healthy, for you. And now it may be very sudden, very quick, but they're very healthy for you on a conscious level, like within your day-to-day reality. It is something that you may not even realize that you need to let go of or realize. Now, this is a new moon, all right? And new moons are about new beginnings, new initiations, things happening. Are you planning new things at this time? So people are definitely in this stage or should be in alignment with this energy of just like starting new things and not being afraid to go after new things if that's what's going on right now. Now, it is in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is a very futuristic sign, all right? It's an air sign. It's a fixed sign. So it has a lot of ideals. Aquarius energy deals with a more scientific nature of life. It likes to analyze things. It likes to invent things. This is even the energy of like the genius mindset. It could even be an energy of like a God complex on the more shadow side. So Aquarius energy, it just shows you the depth of the mental energy when you tap into Aquarius energy. It's all about the mental plane, inventing things. A lot of people who have been known as geniuses have been Aquarius. Albert Einstein, I believe, is an Aquarius. That's a good example because he's just so scientific. It can even lead to like a mad scientist type of vibe, And I'm speaking so much about Aquarius energy because there's not a lot of asteroids that are even around this new moon in Aquarius. So with this solar eclipse, it's definitely shining a light on Aquarius energy, especially because we have Pluto in Aquarius, we have Mars still in Aquarius right now. So we still have an Aquarius stellium going on right now, meaning that it's a lot of focus on individuality, okay? And then this takes me into the 11th house, okay? The 11th house deals with ideals, dreams, hopes, wishes, aspirations, okay? These are big things that we're talking about in this 11th house. The 11th house in astrology too is almost second to last, right? It's 12 houses on the zodiac sign, first to the 12th. And when you get to the 11th house, if we're speaking about the cycles of life, which is what the natal chart is even representing, when you get to the 11th house in Aquarius energy, this is like a retirement vibe type of energy, all right? And let's think of like the first house being when you're 1 year old, when you're born, right? Let's fast forward to the 11th house. This is like someone who has mastered their career, which was the 10th house. The 11th house, we're talking about retirement, okay? We're talking about your ideals. We're talking about your ideals in your ideas, as well as your aspirations. These are the things that you want to achieve in life. These are the things that you want to, in the future, or when you reach a place of retirement, these are the things that you want to say you achieved, okay? This could be a family. This could be a Fortune 500 company. This could be someone who wants to give back to humanity, who wants to make a better place for animals. Like it could go far and far. It's definitely advocacy energy when it comes to the 11th house, because it's a place of where you've gained so much. If you live life correctly, okay, this is a place with this 11th house where you've gained so much in life. You have more than enough to give back, okay? The 11th house also deals with wealth, okay? And wealth is but is not only financial, okay? So what I mean by that is, yes, it can equal out you being wealthy to you having a lot of financial stability, but it isn't only financial stability when we're talking about wealth, especially in this 11th house, because this is very important for the solar eclipse, because it's going to be really calling these things into mind for a lot of people, and it's going to be coming into question for even the collective. Okay. And wealth is an energy where it can be about financial stability, right? But it can also be about having, for example, an abundance of health, an abundance of emotional fulfillment, strong relationships, knowledge, wisdom. It could be having time, having freedom, finding purpose and meaning in life. This is the energy what we're talking about with this 11th house, where you can be at this place of where you can give back in some type of way. You've accomplished some type of wealth in your life with this new moon. A lot of people who are going to be in alignment with this message is like, you've accomplished a lot, whether that be an abundance of health, an abundance of emotional fulfillment, strong relationships, knowledge, wisdom, time, freedom. Give back at this time. There's this energy of giving back, but not from a place of like lack. It's a place from an abundance of wealth. All right. Now, on the more lower side of this energy, this solar eclipse can come in to remind people, that they need to be more in the driver's seat of their life when it comes to reaching certain aspirations in their lives. Okay. Please go back and listen to my Leo full moon if you need more like clarity on just making sure that you're utilizing your creative power correctly, because ultimately, that's the opposition of Leo that we're going to dive into. But with Leo being the opposition, you have to, in order to reach certain goals and aspirations in life, you have to put on your creative suit. All right. You have to tap into your creative potential. You have to know your creative power. All right. In order to reach certain goals and ideals and aspirations in life, you have to utilize your creative power, your creative will, your real power, your ability to create, because there are some certain things in your life only you can create, you and God, and you have to know that. So when we're talking about this energy of the 11th house, it deals with your dreams even, right? Everybody has dreams, literally and metaphorically. So dreams are something that you have to basically apply goals to in order to achieve. In this lifetime, you can live out your wildest dreams, everybody, right? But you have to ground it some way. You have to make goals. You have to even get in your creative suit, like I said, whether that be putting on a certain persona, whether that be tapping into your goals, whether that be expanding your consciousness, expanding your learning in a certain department so that you become that character, so to speak, this lifetime. Okay, because everybody is their own main character in their reality, whether they know it or not. So that takes me into the opposition to Leo, which we're already discussing, and the asteroid Iridike is being aspected. And this is again is an energy where you want to make sure that you're taking control and accountability of your creative power, because this is an energy where a lot of people with the solar eclipse could come into question. If you're on the lower end of this, there could be questions coming to mind like, how did my life end up like this? Or like, how am I in this position right now? That's a sign that you fail to understand the full potential of your creative power. Okay. To question like how you're ending up in certain situations at this moment right now, especially for the next 2 weeks with the solar eclipse. That's a sign that you may be on this lower end, and there's a need for you, again, go back and look at my full moon in Leo post to get a little more clarity on just like how to take more control over your creative power. Also get a natal chart reading from me if you need even more clarity and you just really trying to get more control over your life, your reality. All right. But yeah, so that's that. But on the higher end, this is an energy of you being able to step into different personas. This is the energy of you being the main character of your show and being in this place of where you're giving back in some type of way. So a lot of people are in this very healthy space where they can give back. Again, this could be an abundance of health. This could be financial stability that you're giving back to other people. You're offering it to certain, groups in humanity, or, being a good advocate for some people. This could be helping people having knowledge and wisdom about certain things in life, and you're helping other people with this through your creative gifts. This is in alignment, and the solar eclipse is going to even be able to launch people more into their wildest dreams, especially the ones who have took the time out to analyze what they're trying to aspire to be in the future, know what their ideals are, know what their future goals are, and trying to make even practical goals, and have been, right? And this is where those who have been making those practical goals to make those dreams a reality, they're going to see those dreams manifesting, because you've put in the work type vibe. You put in the creative work, you've created it, in some way, shape, or form. So that takes us into the square to Taurus, which is activating the planet Uranus. And that's the energy that I'm speaking of, why this is so like profound, because Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus, and the planet Uranus is all about shakeups, things happening out of the blue, unexpected, right? So this solar eclipse is already this quick energy, and it's squaring to the asteroid Uranus, which rules Aquarius. So a lot of things are going to be happening out of the blue, and people who have really been in their creative bag and really making practical goals towards their dreams and their ideals and aspirations, you're going to land right in there type of energy right now. Now there are going to be people who are on the opposite end, who are questioning like how they ended up in certain spaces and how life is just shifted so quickly for them, right? Because there was this, there could be this energy of where you invested wrong, even for certain people, invested in certain dreams and goals incorrectly, right? You didn't properly look at where your energy was taking you towards, basically just misalignment, right? And that's even the energy of just not failing to take the reins of your creative power in some way, shape, or form. Now, I'm not even saying this message in a way that is condescending, to where like, there could be some people who are unconscious of just not understanding how to use their creative gifts, because again, in my last full moon in Leo, I talked about, certain people in society, certain restrictions in society limiting people's creative potential, right? So that's that. But then you have people who know their creative power and maybe even misused it to a certain degree, invested in the wrong thing. And with this Uranus energy, it can quickly shift the playing field, quickly shift your reality to where you are having the question, how am I in this reality? How has this happened? And that is definitely a theme that can play out over the next 2 weeks, especially on a collective level. We're already even seeing bits and pieces of that, because Taurus rules stability. Uranus has been in Taurus. It just went direct. So this is a lot of like this is a lot about stability being shook up, but also security also manifesting for a lot of people too. So it's double-edged sword. Now that takes us into the last square to Scorpio, and we have literally no asteroids, no planets that are being activated. The closest we have is Pandora, which is in Libra. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Pandora is actually in Scorpio. So, so we do have Pandora that is opposing this energy. Oh no, forgive me. Actually, Pandora is in Libra. So actually, we don't have any asteroids or any planets that are opposing this solar eclipse, or squaring this solar eclipse when it comes to Scorpio. But it just takes you deeper into the Scorpio energy, which is all about transformations, right? But when it comes to this opposition to Scorpio and Aquarius, right? This is again for those who find themselves very much so in alignment with a lot of things shifting in their dreams, manifesting, reaching their ideals, reaching their aspirations. Life is transforming for you, allow it to transform, embrace it, and be vulnerable, be more vulnerable with especially a lot of people who are in a place where they are looking for maybe more financial stability, maybe more good health, or maybe trying to just find emotional fulfillment in their lives. Okay. Make sure that if you are in a place to where you can give that back to humanity or people at this time, especially over the next 2 weeks, maybe you're somebody who's really managed to find time in life more, our freedom in life, our purpose, our meaning in life. Maybe you have strong relationships again, or emotional fulfillment, whatever the wealth is that you have, and you find yourself in this space of being very wealthy in that. Give back at this time. It's a really good moment to do so, and you'll find that it even puts you into a more secure energy as a result. It transforms things for you in your favor. even more. All right, so that's basically what I have for this solar eclipse. You know, happy solar eclipse to everybody out there. Without further ado,